Greetings and welcome to season two, episode two of the Thought Exchange Cafe podcast, where we bring you ordinary community people doing extraordinary things in the community to bring about awareness and growth, as well as we introduce you to our oracles in the community, those folks that you may call retired or elderly. These folks have a bank of knowledge, a treasure of knowledge. And as we know, right, that information is priceless. And the more information that you have, the more valuable you become. You become an asset now because information is worth more than the paper money that we carry in our pockets. Because with information, we can rule, we can change, we can begin to fill some foundations or solidify some foundations. As well, we're going to be bringing you some of our talented, vibrant, and strong and amazing young adults here within our community and outside of the community. Because, community is not just one community is not just one area. Community is a vast area. Like here in Dorchester, we have Dorchester, Mattapan, Milton, Roxbury. We have the South End. We have South Boston. So we have quite a few surrounding communities, and the people in our communities are some amazing people with some amazing talents and some amazing gifts. And those are the folks that we would like to bring you or introduce you to here on the Thought Exchange Cafe. And why is that? Because there are those out there that think that they may not have anything to give or may not have anything to offer. Let me urge you to not think like that about yourself. And if you are thinking like that about yourself, rearrange that thinking because you will not you would never have been created if you were not created to give something, if you were not created to create something. We live in this vast universe. And now they say it's a multiverse. And a multiverse, what does that mean to you? To me, a multiverse is multiple universes. So there's more than one. We live in this big world, right? And how many of us have truly traveled the world? I know I have not. I have not. So can you imagine what is out there? Each and every one of you have something to give, and there's a place for what you have to give. My name is Tony Davis. I'll be your host for this episode number two of the new year. And once again, Happy New Year to everyone out there. And I'd like to thank my listeners and the viewers for giving me some of their time and taking time out of their busy schedules to just sit here and grow with me, or we grow together. And that's what it's about. It's about growing together. It's not about you being better than me or me being better than you. Because if you succeed, I succeed. And I should have enough confidence in myself to ask you what it is that you are doing in order what it is it that you are doing that got you where you are today, and not be afraid to do that. Why? Because remember back in school they said that the stupidest question is the one that you do not ask. You know, so there's some out there that don't like asking questions out of fear, false evidence appearing real. and pride. Fear and pride will have you running around in phony syndrome. Trust that because I myself once was afraid to ask a question because I didn't want to seem people to look at me as though I was less than or I was stupid or I didn't know or like you should know this. When in all actuality, no, I should not know it. And that's why I'm asking you. Because once I ask you and you give me the answer, now I am going to know. Now, there's a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And in this book, Napoleon Hill talks about going to court. He was brought to court. He was being sued. Asked him a question about his information and where is he getting it from. And the lawyer actually was trying to make him look foolish. And Napoleon Hill's answer to the lawyer was, I have surrounded myself with people who have the answers to any question that I have. And all I need to do is press a button. And once I press that button, I'm going to have the answer. And I say to you, surround yourself with people who have those answers to the questions that you have. And if the people are not around you, go and search them out. Go and find them. And I will guarantee you that they will definitely give you the answer because you took the time and you showed the courage to ask when many we're in some times right now where if you look around if you look around the world or you look right in your community where you live, there's a lot of things that are happening in the community politically, socially, and economically. Years ago, I was taught to pay attention to my social surroundings, those things that are happening politically within my state, as well as economically. Why? Because all three of those aspects, all three of those things play a big part, and they affect me just as well too, and they also affect the many residents within the community that we I live in. And right now we can see that the beginning of 2026 started out rocky and it's still rocky on the political side. What I want to say to you is this: I urge you once again to not allow yourself to get in an uproar. Don't get shaken, don't get stirred, because once you get shaken and once you get stirred, what happens to your energy flow? You begin to give it away. There's four things that I'm going to talk about this evening. One is energy, two is focus, three is growth, and four is mindset. And I'm going to start out with energy because, see, some of us think that our money our money is our currency. Our money is our most valuable currency. I beg to differ on that because without energy, you can't make the money. Without energy, you can't go and earn the money. And we don't make money because we're not the mint. We just can't go and print money. There's some people who are printing money, but I'm not going to be one of them. No, I'm not. I'm going to get up and begin to move to create some energy. And there's a scientific study that says that we are energy beings, right? We're energy beings. And now this is a fact, right? Because let's say you haven't eaten, right? You're gonna say I'm low on energy. I can't move. But as soon as you get something to eat and you get yourself back together, you're gonna feel fueled up. That's energy. Energy is an asset for you. Energy is currency because it flows. See, current, current. Water has a current, electricity has a current, you have a current. We got to get up and move. And in getting up and moving, we become inspired to go out and do those things that we need to do in order to take care of ourselves as well as our families. Focus. Why focus? Because they like the saying says, where your focus goes, your energy flows. See, we coming back full circle, talking about energy again, right? Because it takes energy to do everything that you do. Even when you sleep. Even when you sleep, it takes energy. In order to in order to in in order to move forward today in these rough times that we're having of uncertainty, some fear, and some doubt that's been put in here. And then you look at the job market, right? So I'm not going into politics, but politics play a big role in what we do and how we live, right? You were born. I know I was born to create, but I didn't know that at a young age. Why? Because my creative ability was taken away from me in school. You ever get the answer right to something and then the teacher told you that it was wrong and they gave you a big fat D or E or something? What did that do to you? I know what it did to me. It broke my self esteem, it broke my drive. I got the answer right, but just because I didn't follow okay, so help me to follow that method, but yet still, are you going to give me credit because the answer was right? It's just like if I say to someone, meet me on Dorchester Avenue. Meet me on Dorchester Avenue at 2:30. Okay, and you get there at 2:25. I get there at 2:30, but I'm going to tell you you were wrong because you got here 5 minutes before I did. Or what route did you take to get here? You see, there are many roads and many paths to getting to the destination. And the key piece is getting to the destination. The next piece we're going to talk about is growth. Why? Because when you become growth mindset, when you get into a growth mindset, you become like water. You go under, over, or through the obstacles to reach your goal or get to your desired place. Nothing can stop you. And one thing I had to do, I had to stop looking at hurdles and difficulties as things that were meant to stop me. They weren't meant to stop me. They were meant to slow me down a little bit in order for me to get a better perspective and become that much more agile in order to leap, not jump, but leap over the hurdle. But at a particular time, I wasn't aware of that. I was not. And I thought that I had failed. I had taken 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. And once again, I thought I had failed. And then I read something that said that failure, false evidence appearing real. But not only that, if you take 3 steps forward and you got to take 2 back, guess what? You still gained something. What did you gain? You gained that 1 step. So now you take momentum from that 1 step. I sit in front of you right now because of that 1 step. Because of that 1 step. And in the future, I'm gonna really go in depth about my story, but this is not about my story right now. This is about sharing and opening up this platform and allowing the viewer and the subscriber to have a safe place to come and share some of their experiences and hopes, some of their what kept you focused, what helped you to get energized, what helped you get into a growth mindset. I want to read a little something, and it says, our attitudes are one of our most important assets. Our attitude may not be our attitudes may not be the asset that makes us great leaders, but without good ones, we will never reach our full potential. Our attitudes and then some that allows us the little extra edge over those whose thinking is wrong. Walt Emerson said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Within us. I know I have to go within myself and stop paying less attention to those things that are on the outside of me and pay more attention to what is inside of me, because it's easy to get discouraged, defocus, lose your energy, and forget about growth mindset and fall right back into mediocrity. You fall right back into that reasoning mind. And that reasoning mind is a powerful thing, because that reasoning mind will tell you not today. That reasoning mind will say, didn't you do enough already? That's okay. It'll be there tomorrow. Go home, lay down, and watch some TV or binge scroll. How about that? Ask me, how do I know? Yes, because I've experienced that on many occasions. Now, my mind still says that now, because we all have two voices. I have that voice, the one that I'm speaking to you in front of you with, but I also have that voice in my head that be talking to me, telling me, not today, Tony. You don't want to do that podcast today. More so, why? What are you doing it for? Don't nobody really want to hear what you got to say. And that could be discouraging. It could. Start looking at how many people are viewing, how many people are not viewing, and who's scrolling past, right? That could be discouraging. But guess what, right? I'm going to keep coming back. I'm going to keep because there's a lady, there's an oracle, and I speak about her quite a bit on my shows, and her name is Mother Williams. And she's an oracle, and she taught me that if I can help one person along this journey, no, forgive me, Mother Owens. She taught me that if I can help one person along this journey, then my life has not been in vain. And I can't wait to have her here sitting with me so we can talk about that statement, so we can go and discuss a little bit further about being on that path, being on that path of growth, being on that path of not having it all, but being able to help another when you are down. And there's another quote. It says, become what you want. Become what you want before you get what you want. In order in order to grow that growth mindset, in order to get laser focused and to ignite the energy. For myself, I had to start acting and thinking and feeling as if I was already there. I had to start acting, feeling, and thinking that I was already here. Because if I didn't, I would not be here right now today. Because I would have lost the belief. I would have lost the belief in myself. Because doubt creeps in really, really quick. Just like that reasoning mind and going back into comfortability. Nah, I don't need to do that. I can do some other stuff. You know, I can go and work a few more hours. I can go and sit down somewhere and do something else instead of doing what I'm doing right now. But I had to say to my mind that no, you're not in control. You are not in charge. I'm in charge. And I had to stay focused. I had to make sure that my energy, that I said no to the good and yes to the best. Because by saying yes to everything, I'm saying no to some other things. And those other things is saying no to me, no to what matters to me the most. We have we have folks in our lives that they care, they care, and sometimes they care about more about what you can give them than about you. And now that's just a fact. That's just a fact. And by saying yes to them all the time, you're saying no to yourself. Mindset. Shakespeare has a quote that says, nothing is good nor bad unless thinking makes it so. And there's a commercial. And I also talked about that on another episode. In the commercial, it was about black college students. And it talked about the mind is a terrible thing to waste. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I know about that all too well. All too well. But it's only by the grace of God that I sit in front of you right now and having this opportunity to experience, to be here, to grow with you, to learn from you, but also to help one person along that journey, along my journey, because I don't want my life to be in vain. And I'm sure you don't want your life to be in vain either. In closing, there's something called telos, and telos equals don't minimalize yourself. In the times that we're in right now where it's uncertainty all over the place, our political arena is very screwed up right now. Is there even a political arena? And I don't want to focus on that because when I begin to focus on what is happening outside of me, I begin I begin to give myself, I begin to give away my energy, but also at the same time, I leave my door open. And when I leave my door open, I allow anybody to walk in my house and take whatever they want, my mind. Because, see, fear and doubt brings about a whole lot of other things with it. It brings about sickness, it brings about dis-ease, disease. And right now, with everything that is being pushed on us through the news, through the media, through those things that we hear, it can become discouraging. Some folk don't know what to do. Some folks, all they talk about is, well, you know what they talk about. And there's nothing that we can do about that. I know there's nothing I can do about it. I'm powerless over decisions and choices that other people make. I'm so powerless over that. What I'm not powerless over, I'm not powerless over decisions and choices that I make, because decisions and choices determine your destiny. And I know that decisions and choices will determine my destiny. So, in closing, I would like to say, let's look beyond the chaos. And as I said previously, there are those that are making out like a fat rat in the midst of the chaos. Okay. Allow yourself to be one of them that makes out like that fat cat in the midst of the chaos by not becoming part of the chaos. I heard another person say that if you want to help someone, and they was talking about, so if I don't know if anyone is familiar with mass and cast. And mass and cast, that's where a lot of folks that are under the influence, and they call it being in the grips of the addiction, are running up and down those streets and they're not alive. They want to be, but they just don't know how to come up out of it. And a man said, if you want to help them, do not become one of them. And I'm saying to myself, and I'm saying to you, not to become, not to become one of them that the entertainment industry would like for me to become. And what is that they would like for me to become? They would like for me to become an empty person, an emotional person, a drastic person, a person who cannot make a clear decision or choice, and get caught up in that loop of thinking and feeling and thinking in the past, not looking at my present, and not having a future to look to. There's one thing I want to urge you, and I would love for you to think about. We have 60 minutes in an hour, right? We have 24 hours in a day. We have 7 days in a week, right? We have 12 months in a year, 365 days. Every year. Same holidays every year. See, we're caught up in a loop, and it's a man made loop. I'm learning how not to celebrate those days that they put on the calendar. Let me celebrate when I choose to celebrate. And why not? Because I have a choice and I have a decision to make regarding my life, my energy, my focus, my growth mindset. And so don't you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for giving me some of your time this evening. I mean, today. And I look forward to having you come back for episode number 3, season 2, coming back to you very, very soon. Until then, enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you. Stay safe.